Yeah, like my dad.
Should we premise what we were just talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Andrew Dice Clay. So like my dad.
Andrew Dice Clay, legendary comedian.
Legendary Italian-American comedian.
Actually, he's a Jewish guy from Queens or something like that. You know that?
Yeah, he like his again, it's like a character or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like the proto Andrew Schultz. You know what I mean? Where he's just like
yeah, but Schultz. Here's why I think everyone after him, because he was like the first guy. He was the only real comic to get like fully canceled, like fully like was selling out Madison Square Garden to like his movie getting essentially pulled, Ford Fairland. Essentially, like really, they happened, but they stopped promoting it. Like they screwed him over, ruined his career, got nothing, became nobody for a while, and now it's just now making like a comeback.
Yeah.
Like 30 years later. Now, what makes Dice Clay so funny to me, because this whole bit of just being like, "They suck my fucking dick,"
Oh yeah.
I think when I was younger, I loved it because I loved hating on women because I was in middle school.
Yeah, you're 12. That's your whole.
I was like a little like kid incel,
Yes, of course.
Which is when you should be a celibate.
You get a window of 18 months to be like, girls suck.
Yeah.
Like from like 6th to middle of 8th grade or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like 6th grade, 8th grade. You got to be like a misogynist. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Yeah, no, dude, all you're doing is watching hardcore pornography. Yeah. You don't have any friends that are girls. You're just watching like...
Yeah, and you don't know how to talk to women
Yes,
yet.
of course. The only time you experience is like your mom making you go to sleep and then just like... You know what I mean? That's your only exposure to the female species.
And then you meet girls at school and they don't cook for you and they don't fuck you and you're like, then why? What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Those were your two big selling points.
And like every uncle you have is like, this is my stupid fuck. And she's just like, and she is stupid.
Yeah.
Like just your aunt is just this lady that's like, well, when we were growing up, we used to, and you're like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Oh
so you just hate all women. Yeah. And from 6th to 8th grade, yeah, that's about right. That's when I loved Andrew Dice Clay, unironically.
Of course.
And now I've come around to like, I think I'm one of few people that see through what Dice Clay really is as like this character comic, because I've seen like a documentary. He talks about it, like he is a character.
Yes, yeah.
80%, 90% of Dice Clay fans have no idea that he's like fully lying to them, that he actually like thinks what he's saying is like bad.
Yeah.
But most of his fans are just like dudes in like their 50s and 60s who are like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Finally, a guy.
Puerto Ricans do stink or whatever. Yeah.
Finally, a guy brave enough to go on stage and tell women to suck his cock. The dream.
Like my dad, he would do this shit where he would like, dude, he had all the tapes in this like booklet. And the top of the booklet, it was like the Dice Clay collection, right?
Yeah.
And he was
so
like,
sick.
And it was like the cover was him. I knew from like 12 years old, 13 years old, I was like, this guy is either profoundly retarded, like autistic, or he's doing a bit, because the cover was him in a skin tight, like black Levi's and a leather jacket with a cigarette, and it was like Dice Man in like the 80s Miami Vice font.
Dice Man cometh.
And I was like,
legendary special.
My dad was like, dude, check this guy out, because
it's on YouTube for free.
Yeah,
everyone should watch it.
We were in his 4Runner, and he was like taking me to baseball practice. And my dad's like howling. We're like on 45 heading to the baseball diamond. And Dice is like, I got a fucking question for the whores in the audience. And my dad's like, he's calling them whores. Like, this is a redneck. From
they just love it. Rednecks just love that shit. Yeah,
and I was like, he's like, you want to, after the show, that's why I love doing college towns, because you girls, you got F's, but you're ready to suck some dick. There's no bit.
So funny.
Yeah.
No, he's literally...
There's no bit.
Dude, there's the HBO documentary on the Comedy Store, I believe. They cut to him, and they're talking about like his set, and he goes... He made the line, and this is what I realized. It wasn't until I was watching that I realized like I was 100% right in what I had always thought, that it was a character.
Yeah.
He goes, I couldn't get any dumber for them. He goes, I was on stage, I was saying the dumbest shit I could. I can't get any dumber for you guys.
Yeah.
And when you see him live, like when you watch those specials, under the idea that this is a tortured artist that's doing his best to be the best misogynist in the world.
Of course. Yeah.
The idea of him on stage being like, shave your pussy, I hate it, you dumb cunt. Like he's like saying that as many times as he can. Like his brain is so rotted.
Yeah, of
course.
And
he's like annoyed with it that he has to say this dumb shit.
It's like
to me that's funnier than him being just an actual misogynist.
Like Toby Keith for country. Like you're doing this like condensed thick syrup shit where you're like, Toby Keith is like, when I go to the bar and I park my big truck, and you're like, okay, this guy's fucking with me. And then guys that my dad were friends with, like, the new Toby Keith album is awesome. And you're like, do you understand what he is to this country?
Yeah.
He's a cartoon, man.
Yeah.
The Dice thing, where I was like, I often wondered guys like Dice and like Gilbert Gottfried to some degree, right? Where he was doing a different thing. But I'm like, what kind of comic did you want to be? You know what I mean? Like, did you want to be a smart comic? Did you want to be like a political guy? Did you want to be like an edgelord? And then you took it like...
And then you just got stuck in this?
Yes. Like, what did you want?
I thoroughly think Dice Clay wanted to be an actor.
I can see that.
And then, because I'm autistic for Andrew Dice Clay history.
Okay.
His first ever set he ever did was his first character ever was a mad scientist.
Oh, okay.
Where he would go on stage and go like, "Oh God, I messed up the formula," and he'd play this like character as like this like Jewish mad scientist and be like, "I don't know what to do," and then he would do an Elvis impression. And I think all he wanted to do was just to do these character bits in his head where he liked doing voices and characters,
like a early Dave Chappelle thing, the Chappelle Show thing.
Yes, yeah. I think if Dice Clay could, he would be a sketch comic. Like a sketch, like
I can see that. Yeah,
which is funny because he famously did SNL. Cast members boycotted it, and then SNL. Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
Okay, dude, I'm so retarded for this. Saturday Night Live, Dice Clay was scheduled to headline. Everyone was to host the show. The feminist movement, so like the 80s and 90s, hated him. So they did an open line. They had a phone line. And after one of the episodes, they said, "We're going to have Andrew Dice Clay next week. You call in and say, vote yes or vote no." Mm-hmm. And like essentially, like people voted, like the feminist women all over the country voted like, "We don't want Dice Clay. He's a sexist. He's a sexist. He's a sexist." Mm-hmm. Unaware, like America, like people that hate him and people that love him don't realize. They both don't realize that none of this is him.
Yeah.
Like the funny part about Dice Clay isn't the actual problem. It's his fans.
That makes sense.
And he hates them too. That's why when he does shows, he charges like $200 to $500 a ticket a show. Did you know that?
No, I don't know any of this shit.
Because he hates his fans.
That's so funny.
He hates doing it so much.
That's so funny.
Dude, I saw him at the mothership, and like I knew the door guy, and I was like, I want to see Dice. I'm not paying $500 to like come to the balcony. I went to the balcony. I watched him. The best part of the show, it's like $500 a ticket to see Andrew Dice Clay. He makes comments like about like he hates his fans aside.
That is so funny.
The best part of the show is somehow, I don't know how they fucking afforded it, but a bachelorette party was there.
Wow. It was like a Gen X bachelor party?
And they had no idea who he was.
Oh.
And they hated him. And it was like, oh, dude, to see the original misogynist, you know?
Like the OG.
The first guy to shit on women on a public platform.
He's like OG Sam Hyde, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, and at one point, this is the best line. Some lady he goes, "I love women." And she goes, "Yeah, I'm sure you do." And and the whole crowd's like, because she's mad. She's just watched an hour of this guy shit on women.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. And then he turns and the whole crowd's like, "Oh," because everyone knows that he's going to destroy her. And he just goes, he doesn't smoke anywhere. He has this cigarette, but it's unlit.
Oh, yeah.
He takes it out and he goes, "Some women are so dumb. 2 holes, 2 tits, and a heartbeat."
What I like,
just like 6 words destroyed her.
And
then got back to the act.
It's like, it's very funny to probably, like, depending on the age of that bachelorette party, to have no, like, if they're like millennial, they might know from their maybe they would have to have a certain type of Gen X mom and dad. Like maybe we had to be like to know who Dice is. If they're Gen Z wedding, they probably don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they know. Again, depending on parents, there's not much of a difference. But I love the idea of Dice being one of those guys, maybe like Carrot Top, right? Where something worked for you, and if you ever tried to deviate from that, nobody wanted it. You know what I mean? And so you end up trapped in this like this fucking where like I've seen so many interviews with Carrot Top where he like legitimately loves the art, and like I've seen him in Houston and he's so fucking good.
I've heard all the stories. Apparently he's just a brilliant writer.
He's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
And
phenomenal performer.
But if you get pigeonholed and stuck, like, dude, when I found out that Godfrey didn't talk like that, I was like,
so funny.
Get the fuck out. Like, my dad showed me old Godfrey clips when I was growing
Gilbert
up.
Godfrey,
Gilbert
right?
Godfrey,
Yeah.
And like one of the first things we were watching like Gilbert Godfrey stand up, and he's like, back in New York, it's very difficult to find a woman who wants to hear this yelling in her ear while you're and I was like, that guy really sucks. And then my dad would like pause the VHS and be like, He doesn't talk like that. And I'd be like, really? And my dad,
that's so funny.
He would like show me in interviews where Gilbert, it was like the James Gandolfini Sopranos thing where like he had a little bit of an accent.
A little bit of that, yeah.
But it was like, he'd be like, yeah, you know, growing up in New York's kind of a crazy thing. But like, it's like James Gandolfini doesn't actually fucking do this shit. He's just like a guy with a little Italian thing, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, dude, you are one of the biggest, Gilbert Gottfried was like, you're one of the biggest guys and you're stuck doing that.
Yeah.
It's like Bobcat Goldthwait, where it's like...
Oh, yeah. Bob. He got out of it. Bobcat Goldthwait might be the only guy...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Bobcat Goldthwait, anyone listening who doesn't know, his first ever late night set, he goes on stage, he has like long, like a hairband-esque hair, and it's like pulled out and like spiked up, and he's like, I don't even, what am I even doing here? I don't even want to be here. The voices inside my head, and he's like doing this hands, and he's like, he literally doesn't even like finish a sentence, the entire set. He goes, chicken nuggets, and he's just like nonsense, and it's like this weird like meltdown schizo thing,
alt comedy proto thing,
murdered,
yeah.
And now he's like this film director who's bald. He goes on stage and he's like, "Well, what an interesting day I've had."
Yeah, see, I've seen his news. Yeah.
Dude, he went from like 10, 15 years of just like to like just being like, now I just talk.
This is like not. I mean, now we're just doing like the history of stand-up shit.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sorry, dude.
No, that's fine. The listeners, some of them are. This is my show. Like we can talk about fucking Hitler if we want, but like the fucking. I feel like guys like Stanhope were like that kind of nihilistic like. I'm a drunk that hangs out thing was like so big in the late 90s or 2000s. Like when Hicks was just doing his like I'm the smartest guy in the room, everyone's retarded thing, and everybody ate that up. Yeah. And Stanhope kind of did like a Gonzo, Hunter S. Thompson drunk version of that. And then, you know, Hicks is dead. Stanhope's still alive. And from what I understand, Stanhope is like still, it's like, dude, I talked with Thomas about this a lot. Thomas is he's in gay conversion camp, so that's why he's not here, guys. Sorry. Like Bert Kreischer being like, he has to do that forever. Like Bert Kreischer has to take his shirt off and drink 100 billion beers and be like, I used to be a guy in college. And then other guys that were guys in college go, I remember those days. And he's a dad and he's aging and like you can tell in his face, like the alcohol is getting to him. And it's like, if you ever stop doing that, the career probably doesn't withstand that. You know what I mean?
I just love. I think the ultimate move is to just hard pivot, like Bobcat Goldthwait did, where you go from being like literally like unintelligible on stage,
drunk idiot,
just being like, I'm actually a very pretentious film director who's been articulate this whole time.
Yeah.
But the idea of Tom Segura doing that is so funny. The
Bert
idea
Kreischer,
Bert Kreischer. The idea of Bert Kreischer all of a sudden
being a learned man of the literature and the clergy. Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Bert Kreischer doing Bill Hicks would be so. Bert Kreischer being like, it's actually incredibly nuanced.
The articulate way nature. Yeah.
I went to Russia when the mafia was run. And the problem with the mafia isn't just that they parade around as if they're protecting the people, but really they're acting within their own best interests. And, emblematic of the problem, the falling apart and decay
USSR,
of public transit is they ran the train line. Which is unfortunate for the proletariats is they had to pay into a system that was ultimately flawed and never built to benefit
and, like, perfect
them.
Teeth. Yeah. Like he takes his shirt off and he's shredded as fuck. And you're like, hold on a second.
Nuanced Bert Kreischer telling the machine, sorry, I am the machine. A metaphor both for me, a machine of beer, but also a machine oppressing the people.
Deus Ex Machina, if you will. Yeah,
he retells the machine, but as like a metaphor for like capitalism.
Like God or something. I love the idea that like sometimes I'm like, okay, like, this show, like, me and Thomas, we're like middling or whatever, but like you have people on, like everybody's doing well. Like what comedians do I know that are doing something right now that maybe isn't completely them, and then they take off and they have to be like the next Bert Kreischer? Like I try to think of guys in the scene or that I know. Yeah. And I'm like, you get big for being like fucking Tony Baloney, the big fucking alcoholic Southern Italian guy. Who fucking knows, right?
Do you know the guy? Do you know Tony Pepperoni?
I do not know that. There's no way that's a real guy.
That's a real guy. There's an open micer in Austin who, I'll say it, I can't fucking stand.
Okay.
Who goes on stage as Tony Pepperoni.
I've never heard. This is so awesome. How the fuck do I not know about this guy?
And here's why I hate it, is sometimes he kills.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes he kills, and I don't like that because it's so bad. He goes on stage. He's like, I talked to him. He's so dumb off stage where it's like he found a thing that works and he's just like smart enough to know how to keep doing it, but none of it really makes any sense. But his whole thing is he wears like a pepperoni shirt and sunglasses. And he goes, I'm Tony Pepperoni. I'm Mercedes Baloney. I'm a Tony Pepperoni. I get the girl horny. I'm Tony Pepperoni.
No.
I got the meat roll. And it's literally that. And it's just that.
He does like 10 minutes of that shit?
And then the funniest part that my friend has a story of, he saw Tony Pepperoni bombing. Or he tried getting out of it into doing like his regular acts.
Just normal bits, yeah.
And then he goes, Tony Pepperoni, so sad he might make his brain into Mastroni. Just like he's like sad Tony Pepperoni.
Yeah.
To be stuck in that character and being like bombing is so funny.
Dude, so there's a guy, I will say I do legitimately love this dude. He is so nice and very funny. I don't know his backstory. His name's Craig, African-American gentleman. He goes up and does poems and raps. And,
the Poetic Butcher?
I don't know. I saw him at Roscoe's like 2 or 3 times. So I took my fiance Ashley, and she is like, she watches stand-up, but like she's not into it like I am, obviously. Yeah. And so she was like, I was like, I'm doing a spot at Roscoe's, like, come and we'll watch the comics, we'll hang out, have a few drinks. Craig goes up first, and he gets this poetry book, and he starts doing this poem about just getting like guys that get butt raped in jail. And it's like, he's like, if you get your booty took, you're going to have to learn to read a book. If you're getting your booty taked, that means you made the mistake. And the audience is like not sure where this is going. I'm literally losing my fucking mind. Ashley's like drooling, crying. I'm crying, and he's like, and he notices that we're in the back, and he's like sees us, and then he almost like directs the rest of the poem, and is like, if you're in the penitentiary, you're getting your penis sucked intentionally. And I'm like, 100% this is a mind of a generation. And like after the set, you know, like he's walking around, I do my spot, and then I'm like, dude, Craig, this is fucking incredible. And he's like, thank you, man. And I couldn't parse if it was like a thing he was doing or if, you know what, you never can tell with certain guys.
Yeah.
It's like it's a dice thing where it's like unless they pull the curtain back Wizard of Oz style,
yeah,
you don't know. You know what I mean? And I'm like, please be this way for real. Please be real. Because I don't, if this is a bit, I suspend my disbelief and then it kind of ruins it for me. I see the magician's trick or whatever the fuck, you know.
It's open mic brain rot.
Yes, which is honestly sometimes awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, you know, it's not always
sometimes
great.
As a comedian, you enjoy something because it's so bad almost.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where
yes,
it's like,
of course.
It's like this, he's doing like, you know, like 4th grade level poetry, but it's all just rape. And you're like, did you think that was good?
Yeah, because if you did, but if you know that this is insane.
If you're intentionally doing something bad.
Yeah. There was a guy, I think JT was talking about him, and I don't know, I think he was definitely before your time. He would go up, this was like right around the time when shit lifted for COVID. He wore a leather, I've talked about him in Linked on the show. It's not the guy that was doing Bill Burr stuff, but he did wear a leather jacket and jeans and boots, and he had the like, you know, have you ever seen the movie Fury with Brad Pitt? It's like the war movie. He had the like,
I'm familiar with what it is.
Shaved sides and like the long slick back, kind of like Gavin McKinnis, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, he would just go up there and be like, you know, in certain cities like Austin, man, they won't even let you say faggot. There's no joke at all. And then he's doing like, I don't know how, but he would get these 10-minute spots where like you have to work up to these certain 10 minutes. Not always, but you know, and he's like, and everybody's like, like trying, because he's like, he's doing the edgy thing, right? But again, no bits, no jokes, no tags, no punchlines. And he's like, oh, I sense some of you guys are a little uptight that I said. And he would, it was like,
just keep doing it.
He was said that I said retard. And you're like, hold on a minute.
No one's uptight. There's nothing funny.
Here's the thing. Like we were just talking about with Dice, I was like, if you are actually doing this poorly, then you need to go home and start a 12 gauge. If you're doing a character, you need an Oscar because I want to kill you. Like I believed him so much.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with all of this stuff. I hate it because 99% of the time at open mics, these guys, like Tony Pepperoni is just an idiot. is truly just an idiot. He's just an idiot that's like doing this thing. And he doesn't like, a lot of times his punchlines don't even make sense. And so it's like he doesn't even realize that he's just bad, but he thinks what he's doing is like clever, but he's like actually just an idiot. The reality is that guy probably just an idiot who writes bad poetry, who just like pressures way into that club. Same with this other guy. They're probably just idiots. But on the 1% chance, because I've been around so much, and you think they're a genius, then you start talking to them, and you're like, oh, fuck, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But on the 1% chance that they're doing this on purpose,
Meal hamburger thing, yeah.
Then it's so fucking
it's so
good.
Awesome.
Then it flips around to immediately being like dog shit, to be like, oh, you're intentionally choosing to be this bad and just sit in it. It's so funny.
It's so funny because it's like, I've never met the guy that I was talking about. Like, JT's brought him up before, and I did a brewery show one time, and he was there. Dude, these were 15-minute sets, man. I did okay, didn't bomb, didn't crush, somewhere in the middle. And he goes up after me, and he said, he's something like, he just starts kind of, I don't know this guy. He starts kind of, he's not roasting me, but he was like, hey, anybody know if that guy's halfway through transitioning?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I have a feminine kind of look. No, but And then I didn't say it, but I'm watching this guy. His first 2 minutes are like, that's the thing about Austin is you gotta be like a pit crew. You gotta check under the hood to see. and everybody's like,
just so bad.
Yeah, and I'm like, again, and he starts going off about just making shit up.
Oh, when someone unfunny roasts me, holy fuck, does that hurt?
Yeah, because
so much worse than actual roast.
Yeah, of course. But he was like, his bit was like, some women in Austin are hot, but they have penises, and I'm like, okay, awesome, very, very, very unique, very not hacky at all, whatever.
Yeah,
but
been
again,
done before.
It sucked so bad that I was sitting there watching the audience laugh at parts, because I think there were people there like me that were like, dude, if this is real, this guy needs to be in jail. If this leather jacket, cigarette behind the ear, Matthew McConaughey and dazed and confused motherfucker is like, you got to check the wrench to see if it's got a fucking penis, and you're like, then you deserve $1 million. You might be the funniest guy in the city if this is not real, or whatever. And you're right though. Almost always, you're wishful thinking. You're like, you want there to be some purpose to this stupid fucking horse shit. Yeah. And there almost always is never.
A metaphor for life.
Yeah, exactly.
A metaphor for life. I just want a purpose to this shit.
Yeah, it can't be this stupid and absurd. There has to be something meaningful behind this.
Yeah. God, what a nightmare, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I whatever. These people get a vote, and that does scare me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes, it's funny when you meet someone though who is doing it on purpose, but it's just frustrating in general.
I was also talking to when I was in Houston this past weekend. I was talking to some guys who Houston comics that stay in the city. They don't really go to Austin much, and they were asking me about I hear the city's really competitive, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, dude, honestly, one of the funniest parts though is watching people go up at Shakespeare's and stuff. They have no intention of being a comic. They go up there because the city is the best city to do stand-up in right now, and they have no intention of ever really following through with this. They're just bored on a Saturday. Honestly, some of the best fucking yucks I've got. There's just a lady up there being like, I think about killing my kids all day. And she's just got a mom, mommy needs her wine shirt on, and she clearly just got off a shift at the clinic where she's a nurse. Yeah. And she's like, my husband, he's a really great guy, but I want to cheat on him so bad. Yeah. And there's no joke.
She means this.
She's just therapy. This is just catharsis for her.
Yeah.
She's like, I've got a son. His name is Riley, right? And he really likes baseball. He's really bad at it, and I don't love him. And you're like, I'm waiting for the tag, and you're waiting for
just nothing.
There's nothing. She's just up there. This is 8 minutes of her to just be like, I think about killing myself and my family every day. I'm very drunk at Shakespeare's right now. I'm trying to get on Kill Tony, and it's not working. And you're like, I hope you get on Tony. Yeah. I hope everything works out for you. I hope your career takes off.
No, there's so many of these people. Okay. No, I don't. I'll say this, and this is a mean thing that I say, and I feel bad that I have to say this, but I won't hang out with a comic if they're not funny. I just don't even. I won't even give you the time of day, because that's a comment. Take that as a comment. I do mean that. No, because if a comic's bad, it's draining to have bad comedian friends, because they'll start asking you for shit, and you're like, no, I can't help you. Or you vouch for them, and then now you look bad, and so it's I was explaining this the other day. I was at Creek, and there's an open mic sign up, and there's 40 people deep, and I was watching people sign up or fight to get in this line or freak out about the line, And the host came over and he goes, "Hey, do you want to go up third?" And I was just like, it's not like to be pretentious or like cocky. I'm trying to say this like a very matter-of-fact way, but it's like, oh, I'm just like over that. Like, you guys are here an hour early fighting for that line, and the host comes up to me and is like, "Please go third." You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It's like you're begging for this mic spot, and like the host was just like, "Spot."
Yeah, I guess I see what you mean.
But it's nice. It's nice to finally get there. But
Sure.
it's hard to be like, like everyone in that line, I didn't know any of them, and I have no interest in knowing them until they're at a spot where they can be sitting down, talking, and then get on that same list.
I try to,
but I just knew the host. The host was my roommate.
Yeah. That tracks.
I'm gonna be like, it's because I was such a great comic. Also, I live with the host.
Honestly, man, I was hanging out with like Sean Gardini the other day. I was like, dude, I suck so bad at making friends with comedians, partially because I'm just old and I'm not gonna make it friends anymore. Like, I fucking suck at it, dude. Like,
well, just be a comedy and people want to talk to you. Or just be in the green room.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, that's the hang, right? Like, we've talked about it before where like, I was talking to some people in the green room at Secret Group last night about this, where I was like, I don't do drugs anymore and I barely drink. Well, I try to avoid alcohol at all costs. Yeah. And so when I'm sitting in a green room and it's like people are like, "Oh, hey, I got this. You want to do a spot like on a Wednesday?" All that shit happens at like 1 a.m. when everybody's zooted to fuck. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'll like, "Hey, I'm going to go ride go-karts. You guys want to ride go-karts?" And it's like, and no. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get that." I'm trying to do sober shit because when I start drinking alcohol, I start thinking about like pipe bombs and stuff. And like, and like blueprints. And
Can you make a bomb?
The codes.
Do you think you could?
Yeah. This is YouTube. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know that either.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I've never known how to do any of that. When I was a teenager, I went through this phase of there is like an origin to that. I went through this phase of being like, I got the anarchist cookbook off the deep web.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I was like really into like old guerrilla warfare manuals for a bit in college, and I like was like
so dope.
And I literally was like the Fox News, I guess what you'd call like pipeline of like I was like a libertarian Democrat guy in high school, and then I immediately got to college and I was like,
yeah, I miss those types.
Workers of the World Unite type dude immediately my freshman year or sophomore year or whatever, and I was like I would be like on a date and I would be like, "What do you do?" And I'd be like, "I like to go on the computer and I like to download old redacted CIA files and like bomb blueprints." And they'd be like, "I don't think we should ever speak again." Yeah. And that was like that was that kind of thing of like, I thought I was cool because I knew about this book that everybody knows about. It's you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I know how to. I read about how you can take on an army. I've read Mao's like Little Red Book, and it's like, okay, is every like stoner, like commie moron in college. Like, you're just a white dude who did acid, and you're like, money's not real, dude. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah. Money.
I can't stand the money's not real people.
Dude, money's the most real thing in the whole world.
Yeah, well, it's all, yeah. We were talking about crypto before the cameras went on, dude. I could whatever. I could talk about this for hours. I did like a series on TikTok where I broke it down. But like, when people are like, "Well, money's just a pyramid scheme anyway," or "Money's just a Ponzi scheme," I'm like, yeah, but it's a government-backed and enforced Ponzi scheme with a system of regulators and enforcers that enforce transactions that regulate how it's created. Sure. And sure, they're not great at it, but it's better than anything you're going to come up with to govern 100 million people.
Where it's like, I have a loaf, you can have my daughter for like 3 goats or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean it's not real? I can take you to court for steal. I can take you to court for not completing transactions.
Yeah.
We have a legal system.
Rent is due, cocksucker. It's the most real thing in the world.
Yes, it's real. It's real. I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me it's not real. You're gay.
Like, freshman intro to philosophy thing where you like, when you first find out what the military-industrial complex is, whatever age that is for you, and you go, wow, this whole thing is kind of a smoke and mirror show for like corporate and military interests. And I think that is, like objectively true. And then you have that kind of awakening. Some people do, some people don't. Dude. And then you go, money. And you go, oh yeah, it is fake, I guess. But it's like, it's also like, it's both, it's the hyper real. It's both.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I found out, I thoroughly believe I caught on to something. Military industrial complex. This is a real thing.
Okay.
Don't get taken offline. Everyone I know, I have so many friends who work for with the military industrial complex
in some form
capacity.
Or fashion. Yeah.
I've been interviewed so many times by the FBI because when you get security clearance, they ask you for like 20 contacts or whatever, and they call random people up and they're like, "Can so and so be trusted? Have you ever tried?" Like they ask you these questions. The CIA. Yeah. I've been that guy for so many of these people. They have to give you family, non-family, all these people, and they ask you about like, can they be trusted secrets, blah blah. They interview you. Everyone I know that I've had to answer those questions for, I go, "What do you do?" They all say nuclear submarines. Everyone says, and I've just come to the conclusion that when someone says I work on nuclear submarines, the FBI must have figured out, or CIA, or whoever the hell it is, must have figured out that when you say nuclear submarines, people just go, never mind.
Yeah.
The name gives you enough information. It's something no one really knows about. But I have so many friends that go, my brother now works for the government. I would only get him kicked out of his job. He now works on nuclear submarines. And so does my friend in Kansas. And so does my friend for Rockwell Aerospace in Cedar Rapids. And so does my friend in Virginia. They all work on nuclear submarines. And I'm like, nuclear submarines must just be what they tell you to tell people.
Yeah, or like one of the options you get in your script or something.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? I work on nuclear submarines. I can't tell you. That's all I do. I work on nuclear submarines. Dude, there's no way. It's either that's real and they're actually working on nuclear submarines, and we have so many nuclear submarines I can't even fathom.
Yeah.
Or you're working on a new drone to bomb kids in Syria, and that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just be real.
The one that I heard a couple times is, or I have a bunch of friends who live in around Silver Springs in D.C. Like musicians and comedians, and I was up there hanging out with them, and I was like, I'm a CIA as everything guy. Like that's just through and through. And I was talking to them about it, and they were like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but also, like, you're talking about what is essentially, like, 2% of a massive agency. Like, 98% of them are literally Mormon pencil pushers.
Yep.
That was their words. And I said, Mormon? And they were like, yeah, so right next to Langley, or, like a 45-minute drive from Langley, is one of the biggest Mormon churches ever. And they recruit from the Mormon church because straight up, some of them are dirty, but a lot of them straight up have never seen a cigarette. They don't drink coffee. They've never seen a drug. And they have they're squeaky clean.
And I believe the Bible happened in America.
Yes.
So Mormons love America.
They're very patriotic and yeah. And I remember thinking like, well, what about the bearded guys that like torture people and they're like serial killers for the state? And they're like, you're talking about essentially like 0.02%. Now, the agency is all evil, but your idea of the tattooed guy that like learns how to speak like some Pashtun dialect so he can roundhouse kick brown children.
Yeah.
That guy exists. There's about 100 of them, and like they're ghosts. They're called consultants or contractors or whatever. And that was something that that was the answer that I was told, like, you live in that area and you have a friend that hangs out with you in the bar, and maybe he has a couple beers, but he doesn't really like to go out, and you're like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a consultant.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm a consultant for the government. You go, what do you consult? And it's like,
finances.
Yeah. Like logistics. And you go, that is, you either staple shit all day or you oversee like the torture of like human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's nuclear. If you're an engineer, it's nuclear submarines. If you're in the office, I'm a consultant. I consult on various projects for what's like, no, you don't. Yeah, it's a part of the script they give you.
Dude, okay.
Yeah, it's consultant. I've heard consultant before too. Consultant, nuclear submarines. It's always, if they're working on weapons, it's always a nuclear submarine.
Thomas was telling me about this, and I had the same experience.
If you get through 30 minutes of bad stand-up comedy opinions, this podcast, it's really good.
Yeah. Pretentious, like, analyzing of guys with amazing careers.
Yeah. We had to talk about Gilbert Godfrey and Dice Clay up top to get the fucking FBI to get off our fucking trace.
Exactly, yeah. I was
off our scent.
Thomas and I were talking about, like, so he was like, one day I was just on the CIA's Apply Now page, just looking at it, thinking, when I was like, he was like a teenager, he's like, I want to be a spy. And then he was like, I have been eating Xanax and jacking off my whole life. And I remember being like a junior in high school. I just watched a lot of movies and being like, I want to have a pen with a knife in it, and I want to drive a cool car. And I have no idea what the CIA is or what they do. I want to learn how to do roundhouse kicks. I want to have a suitcase with a handcuff on it, and in that suitcase is rubies and jewels. Yeah. I want to meet like Saudi Arabian princesses.
I still want that, by the way. I still want the suitcase with jewels.
I like go to CIA.gov, and it's like they literally have a page that's like clandestine operations, like apply now. And I get to the page, and then I was like, dude, what am I doing? Like, first of all, I love drugs and I hate the federal government. Like, what am I doing? And then second of all, I was like, and then you kind of read about their whole history, their sordid past, and you're like, I don't want to be a serial killer for the federal government.
No, yeah,
they probably have dope ass lives if you're wired that way.
Kill a president.
Yeah. Or or like,
if you're into it.
Or just like hunt down fucking, whatever. Yeah, I definitely went through I think every American boy, a certain type of American boy with a certain type of upbringing, you go, I would make a great spy. And then you like learn the lives that they have, and they're all miserable alcoholics, and you're like, oh yeah, constantly being under threat of having your head chopped off or like getting tortured to death is probably, you deserve that because you're like an agent of fucking imperialism. Yeah. But also, that's probably not a great life to lead, like at all. It probably sucks ass.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not any good. No, but it's fun. I don't know. I enjoy it. I'd love to kill kids.
I wonder if, like, dude. Okay, here's my thing.
Take that off the record. I would not want to kill kids overseas.
I'll bleep that out.
Actually, I've thought about it. Nah, probably not.
Nah, probably not.
Nah, take that one off the record.
I wonder. Here's my thing. I don't wonder because I love to be a little paranoiac fucking nerd.
Oh, like you?
Goofy. Yes. Fuck off. I wonder if how popular, powerful culturally Rogan is, if he actually has any assets in and around that club, around him. Like unwitting, he doesn't.
What define assets here?
So if you are a guy, so like Tucker Carlson, for example, had the biggest news. There's no way that guy doesn't have a handler, whether he knows it or not. If he's a willing CIA asset, or he just has a guy that steers his worldview in certain directions, blah 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 blah. I wonder if, as culturally and politically influential as Rogan is, he has CIA guys on his show all the time, and they always say they're former CIA agents. And I'm like, I'm like, brother. And on a couple episodes, somebody would be like, do you think you would know if like the CIA? And he's like, oh, I would know for sure.
You know who it would be? If there was a comedian that was secretly influencing Joe Rogan's or like monitoring him, it would be Brian Holtzman.
You think so?
He's such a big character, Dice Clay-esque character, crazy guy. No one would ever suspect it'd be Brian Holtzman.
That's so funny. What if it's Bert Kreischer? What if his
the Russian mafia?
Yeah. What if his time in the Russian? He's like a KGB spy. That would be so awesome.
That's so funny. The machine story is him just admitting that he's fucking
he's like a part of the Kremlin, whatever the fuck. Yeah,
that's so funny. Bert Kreischer being a part of the Kremlin would be one of the most like obviously out there. Like, of course, dude. He has ties to the Russian mafia. He's been telling us for the last 20 years. It's his only thing.
Yeah. He's so boisterous and cartoonish that you're like, there's no way that guy is like an anti-American spy or like a pro-American, crazy Fourth Reich type.
He went to Florida State or Florida International. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah. I get like
some college in Florida.
I get like weirdly. I'm like, man, dude. By the way, all of this is like a massive, pointless circle jerk. Like, being into the like CIA stuff is like really just a massive waste of time. I lately, dude, I was just talking to my friend. I was staying with him while I was in Houston. Lately, instead of reading old CIA files about how they like executed a bunch of children in Myanmar, I'll go to the river behind my apartment and I'll just sit in it. And I'll watch the turtles play.
Oh, that's fun.
And I'll like watch the fish come up and like I'll watch like a salmon fucking do this. And
then, you don't have salmon in your river?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. It's a fish. I don't know what the fuck kind of fish it is.
All right.
And then I'll watch like a bobcat play in the hills. And I'll fucking sit there in the river and I'll splash water like a fucking 10-year-old. Because otherwise, I sit in my room in the dark and I just read redacted files till like 4 a.m. And my fiance wakes up for work and she's like, "What are you reading? Are you reading the CIA killed a bunch of people and trafficked children again?" And I'm like, "Yes, honey." and she's like, "Have you tried anything besides that?" And I'm like, "I went to the river the other day and I sat in the mud and it was awesome." And she's like, "Are you going to have a river day today?" And
I'm
like,
please have a river day today.
Yeah.
So conversation at dinner can be nice for once.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, no, 100%. My New Year's resolution was called no more noiding. Less noiding and more rivering. I don't want to like get blue light poisoning from like John Smith.
That's so funny.
You know, John Smith, a former Green Beret and turned CIA agent, murdered 17 children and you know, fucking Haditha, and it was covered up by his fellow Delta Force. And I'm like, who gives? Why should I know this?
Dude, you know what I love? I already love like. Yesterday I was talking to some very like political people from California, conservatives, everyone I know from California is hyper conservative.
Yeah, that's what my buddy Ben says. Shout out Ben, Lemon Party. He says that it's like they're all secret conservatives.
They're like radically, like annoyingly, like they're like Trump's not even a real Republican. And I'm like, I don't care.
Like Orange County, like Long Beach.
Yeah. It's that type. 100%. You know the type of people.
Yes, yeah.
Is a car mechanic from California, and he was going. Fuck, I totally forgot what I was going to say here.
California right wingers.
Right winger. What the hell was he saying?
Profoundly right wing. Like the Republicans aren't actually conservative. Trying to trace your memory back to what you were saying.
Shit, I forgot about what I was going to say here. 1 second.
Well,
I'm going to get it back. What were you talking about?
Well, to one of my favorite things about those guys, dude, is they have all of the accoutrements and aesthetics of like hey, dude, it's all fucking love, brother. And then they'll start talking and they'll be like, we should fucking deport and kill every Mexican. And you're like, what?
Yeah. His wife was a porn star, so he was a free love guy for sure.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing that I remembered was they made some comment. It was this is not the main thing I was going to say. I'll think about the other thing later. But the other thing that like really shocked me was they were talking about like they're like, oh yeah, all the liberals from California now they're coming to Austin, and I was like, well, you're a conservative from California, and you're coming to Austin, so I think it's really you. And then they made some comment like the guy I was with was like, oh, they're adding a 5th lane to the interstate downtown, and they're like, just what the liberals want, and I was like, and I go, no. We want public transit that's effective and affordable and can be beneficial to everyone in the community that's reliant and easy. Therefore, you don't have to use cars. And it makes life and the way you interact with the city nice and peaceful. In Chicago, you have a bus every 15 minutes and a train every 10. And you just leave your house, walk 2 blocks to the train. You're on it for 10 minutes, and you can be anywhere in the city you want. And then you get off. And if you really need to be someplace crazy, you can get a next train. And then you take 30, and you're every 10 minutes. It's always there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. And and they were like, no, liberals want the 5th lane highway. And I'm like, no. I was like, no. That's a thing you guys made up.
Yeah. You made that in your head.
No one wants that. And then there's this like weird moment of like, wait, so who wants to add the 5th lane to the highway? And I was like, bureaucracy.
Yeah, like bloated, ossified bureaucrats that like don't understand anything. Yeah.
Because here's what happens: they go, oh, we have a transportation issue in Austin. Someone goes in the government, and they go, oh, we have a transportation, we got to fix transportation. They go, oh, what can we do? Well, we can build a subway system. Oh, that's going to cost too much. All right, let's not make that cost too much. Well, we could do this. So that's not going to. Well, we got a 5th lane on the highway. Oh yeah, that'll make people happy.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, well, no, do the thing that costs a little more.
Yeah.
That's the left. And then the right goes, make another interstate so I can sell more cars.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you live in a place that's like, dude,
so car-brained, dude.
When we were doing the tour with Chapo, they were like, they'd never really been down Texas. They're all New York guys and LA guys. Yeah. And I was hanging out with them in Houston, and they're like, we met up at the venue, right? And Matt Crispin, he was like, dude, we were trying to go to a bar by the hotel. I search on my phone. Bars near me, right? And one comes up. It's 0.6 miles. And I was like, cool, dope. That's a 4-block walk in the city, right? Yeah. He maps it on foot. It's a 30-minute walk. And he was like, this can't be. Well, they were on a hotel on the feeder road. The bar was on the other side of the feeder road, and there was no crosswalk. So he would have had to go U-turn on foot, like past 4 lanes of traffic in Houston. He was looking at me like I had the answers. Drunk. He was like, who designed this city? Like the most psychopathic.
Oh, yeah, you can't walk anywhere.
No, you can't. No. It's dog shit. Yeah, it's dog shit. He was like, this is on purpose, I'm assuming. And I'm like, look, you live in Texas. You're in Texas, dude. Yeah. Like this place is literally and figuratively the Wild West. Like you have a car or you don't have a life or a job or like a meaningful like existence.
Well, you don't realize like, I don't understand. Because I've seen people on Twitter being like, walkable cities are a liberal thing that is bad. And I was just in Boston. Yeah, it's terrible for driving in, but like within a block there was a baker shop, a coffee shop, a pharmacy, a grocery store, and it was all like the roads are narrow because they're made for horses, and but you could just walk in. Within 2 blocks, you had everything you needed to live. A doctor, like a.
They believe if they build that you won't be able to leave the 15-minute city thing. Yeah. They believe that you'll be imprisoned by your own community.
No, I used to have a parking garage with a car that you can use to get to the next city or to luxury goods.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they have massive. Yeah, it's like the Domain in Austin. The Domain in Austin exists, and that's essentially like its own like weird like walkable city. Yeah, it's a 15-minute city, or whatever you want to call it. But like, what's right outside is the massive parking garage. There's two. There's like two or three.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and people have their cars.
There's a rift between the far right that glorifies like European urbanism. So they'll be like, look at this beautiful city in Czechoslovakia. It's got everything you need, and it's a beautiful white city. That's one side of the right-wing urban planning thing. And then the other one is guys like Jordan Peterson who like eat a bunch of Xanax, and they're like, the vehicle is the last bastion of freedom and liberty, and if you take away a man's right to roam in his Lexus, then you take away his spirit of American ingenuity. And then the other side is like, you are a dumb pillhead. We want to build a white city that you can walk on a cobblestone path. We can take Instagram photos with my white girlfriend, and we can fucking Sieg Heil, and it can look like a goddamn...
It is funny that it does come down to race, ultimately.
Yes. Yeah. It's like
that's how you sell 15-minute cities. It's like, hey, these cities are going to be great. They're going to be affordable. They're going to be walkable. And guess what? Black people aren't going to be able to afford to live here.
I'm almost at the point, so dude, where I'm like...
It's so fucked. That's how you have to sell it to them.
What if you tricked them? Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, what if we started tricking these guys? Where it's like, all right, like... We're going to do socialized medicine, we're going to do public transit, and we're going to do 15-minute cities, and they're going to be white. And the guy's like, you just winked. And I go, no, I didn't.
I didn't wink. There's no wink.
And I was like, we're gonna do it. And it's like, oh, because they'll be like, yeah, you know, right-wing guys, even with the Luigi Mangione, they're like, healthcare is expensive. I'm glad they murked that guy. Like Ben Shapiro did his little YouTube where it's like, the left is celebrating the death of a good man. And all of his commenters would like, fucking swastikas in their AVs and their profile picture, like, Ben, you're fucking retarded. Yeah. Like they were going against him or whatever, and I was like, okay, here's the rub, guys. We're gonna get socialized medicine. We're gonna get rid of the healthcare system. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, and then we're gonna build those European cities you like so much. And yeah, and you're gonna be able to go to a bakery owned by a beautiful white woman with huge tits. And they're like, yes,
that's what made Boston weird. Every business there was like still in the family.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then eventually you build all that stuff, and then they're like, hold on a second. There's a black guy on the train, and you go, yeah, I was lying about that.
I was lying
about that.
Let him in.
They can ride the train too.
Yeah, we actually give them rights.
They're good guys. I don't.
He's not even homeless.
Yeah, he just has.
Because we took care of him.
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. In this scenario. But
dude,
in the reality, he's schizophrenic, has a needle on his arm, and is asking you for money. But hey, that's just Chicago.
That's Chicago. Dude, my favorite fucking type of those guys right now is the dude, all of this like military recruitment propaganda has been really working on like super young Gen Z.
Yeah.
They're like, a lot of these guys make YouTube channels and Instagram like fan cams about dying in war. They want to die. They're like, oh, I want to die on an honorable death, like a warrior, like my grandfather did in World War II.
5 years, you'll have the chance.
And I'm like, well, part of me is like, I don't think you want to do that at all. I think you want to fuck the girl from stats class, and David Goggins and Jocko Willink and Joe Rogan are crossing your wires. You are horny, and you want to fuck the girl with like a Modest Mouse T-shirt on, and she's, you know what baby. I mean? Like you want to have sex with the cool artsy girl, but she won't talk to you because you're wearing a shirt that says "Deport everybody," and she doesn't want anything to do with you. And so you're watching these videos, and you're like, I need to die an honorable death in the muck. And I'm like, go watch any GoPro footage of the Ukraine-Russian conflict. Go watch any of it.
No, it's terrible.
They're shitting and pissing themselves in the mud, in the cold mud, and they die. There's no cool aerial shot.
Can I tell you? No, keep going.
I was like, 9 Inch Nails isn't playing. There's no fucking like credits roll. It's just you begging for your mother, and then you shit your pants and you fucking die.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, I want that. You're tweeting this from a climate controlled apartment. You're eating your fucking goy slop. Like you literally, like you are so stupid. You've been tricked by American propaganda into thinking this is what you want. You just want to make money and have sex. That's what you actually want. Because you're 20 years old and you're in college and you're isolated from your community and you have no life.
Yeah. And Dude, I was talking to a woman. She goes, I like it when men used to. I had so, like, on numerous dates I've been on, I've had numerous women tell me, they're like, I love it when men used to go to war. We used to have real men. I've had, like, numerous women on dates, and I'll be like, cool. Because, like, I don't know. I know I'm not really presenting too masculine here, but on dates, women are always like, what a refreshing. I'm like, I'm really not the most masculine dude.
Yeah.
But, like, I grew up in Iowa, and I know how to, like, fix shit. I can talk about farms. I can, like, I've always, like, I'm great at woodworking. I clean all my own shit. Like, you know.
Other, like, ostensibly so, masculine, like, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I was, like, masculine skills. Like, the other day, like, I was with a girl, and I don't know, something fucking, like, her car handle broke, and I was like, I can fix that or something. It was like, whatever. It's like, I fix it all the time. And people were like, wow, it's so cool. Or like, I had a shirt, there was a cut, and she was like, did you sew that yourself? And I was like, yeah, I did, because I can cheap. I can take care of my own shit.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I was explaining. Oh, no, what it was, I explained to her that I changed the oil in my car, and she was like, you did it yourself? And I was like, yeah. She's like, that's so hot when men are. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want a guy to come back with PTSD, and every night he is in his bed weeping about the thought of his dead friends, and now when he gets mad, he's been wired to be violent. So now he's beating the shit. You don't want a war man.
No.
You don't want that either. The women don't want that either.
Yeah.
You want a man who was a man because he used to fix cars in Iraq, but now the sign of a wrench makes him feel like he's insecure and he has terrible like actual war anxiety now.
Yeah.
And the sign of fireworks makes him cower in his basement because it reminds him of fucking
getting
the
shelled
shots
all goddamn day. Yeah.
I go, you don't want a real war. You just want a guy who knows how to fix cars.
Yes. Well,
what do you mean? You don't want you want a guy who took metal shop in high school. That's what you want.
Yeah. Or like I feel like
you don't want a war hardened man.
No. Well, like there's this weird obsession with like. Obviously, culture's swinging back rightward. Like that's a thing that's obviously very clearly happening all over the world, but especially in the United States. And so I know exactly what you're talking about, where it's just like liberal men or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, this obsession with like man in finance, 6'2", blue eye, whatever the fuck. I'm like, listen. Everybody is so lonely, and you've been like dating apps fucking suck. And you don't even, you have an idea of a human woman or man in your head. And it's based off of like social media algorithms that don't comport with like what a human being is. So like some of the guys that I know who were in the Marines and were like part of the global war on terror. In fact, I would say roughly half of them, my friends that like right out of high school that didn't want to go to college or whatever, they literally, what they do is they drink an entire bottle of whiskey a night and they play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
And then they like listen to death metal and they buy cars on Marketplace and have panic attacks at HEB.
Yep.
Those are the guys. That's the guy.
Yeah, they're all nerds.
Yes.
A lot of grew up big in the Scouts. I'm one of the few guys. Half my friends in the Scouts went into be
yeah.
Half of them went to be paramedics. The other half went to war. It's paramedics. If they were like stoners, they became paramedics. Now they just take pills on the side. Mm-hmm. And the other half who were like environmentalists or like I would say some were environmentalists. And like the other half like are in war. And I have a friend, Eli. I didn't say his full name. It's a 2-part name, so I'm good. I'll just call him E. He volunteers in Ukraine. He lives in like I don't know, fucking Phoenix, Arizona. It's not the city, but like he lives in the U.S. as a paramedic. He is a volunteer war paramedic who signed away his rights, and he did it like a month
Ukraine
last year.
Legion or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he volunteers in Ukraine in like full gear, and he posts like photos. And he has like 400 followers on Instagram. He's not like an influencer.
Yeah.
But he will post photos of war for his 400 people that follow him. I'm one of those 400 people. And it's like one of those crazy photos, like it's like a guy with like a burnt back and like dead baby body parts in like a city that was bombed. And it's like a video of like him in the car in front of him getting blown up. And you'll post it. I can't believe it doesn't get taken down. He's just a guy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's just a dude from fucking Arizona or whatever the hell he's from, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking Vegas. I don't know. Like, and he just like, he posts these. And then since he's so small, like Instagram hasn't taken them down as far as I know. And he posts these truly of just like a pile of burnt human body parts in front of a vehicle that he's like recording on his body cam or whatever. Like he posted on Instagram and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, this is crazy. I mean, just dead people in the burnt flesh everywhere. He's fine. But he's going back again, I think, in like a month.
I mean, some guys are wired like
he's like volunteering to do it. But he's like, he is that guy.
Yeah. Some guys are wired. Like, I was just listening to
But he's also a nerd.
Yeah. Like, I was just listening to, this podcast True Anon. Shout out Brace and them. They were interviewing some like guy, and they were talking about like, dudes who like some guys come back from like veterans come back with like PTSD because of what they did. Some guys come back and they end up depressed because they fucking loved that shit. And being
that's who this guy is.
A civilian, like you have to talk to Debbie, who like at your office job, like or maybe you're a mechanic and like you have to talk to the office lady and she's like, you know, my son, he's really into Yu-Gi-Oh, and he's kind of, and you're like, I want to kill Debbie. Because 6 months ago I was kicking in doors high as fuck on meth, and I was just like, just fucking planting charges and bombing people. And if you're a real psycho, I'm not sympathizing with these guys at all.
No, he is a psycho.
If you're a real life psycho, you come back and
he is a psycho. Like you have to be.
Yes, like you're not sad about what you did. You're sad that you're here. Yeah. You're sad that you're like you're driving on I-35 and you're 30 minutes late to work, and your boss, who's like 5'3", who you could, if you were in the state of nature that you were in 7 months ago, rip his head, clean off his goddamn body. He's like, next time you're late's gonna be your ass, and you're like, what if I just fucking blew your house up? Because that was my job.
Well, what it is, it's like gambling. It's like any sort of thing that, like extreme sports. It's just they're adrenaline junkies. That's what it is. Whatever makes. I'm living on the edge. Whatever. That's what gets this guy on the edge, and he's good enough at what he does that he can go over there and he can. And it's horrific, but his tolerance for horrifying things must be very high.
Sure.
But he's helping them. He's wildly helpful. He's probably saved hundreds of people's lives. He's a community organizer and you know, over there and here. And he's just like, I think it's just the adrenaline. It's not like anything. I don't think it's necessarily violent. I don't think this guy is violent. He's a paramedic. I think he just wants to help, but I think it's like the rush of like, oh, I get to do paramedic stuff at S difficulty at expert, and then he comes here and he's picking up people in the van, and he's another heart attack, 50-50. We'll see if we get him or not. Fentanyl again. But over there, it's like he's a hero. I get to be a hero. I get to for a month a year. I get to go to Ukraine. I get to be a hero, and I don't care if I die. The rush of being a hero, the rush of, because this guy's very like lame. He's very like not even necessarily Christian. He's just a good guy. But I think for him, it's not necessarily a violent rush. I think it's just like because he's not killing people. I think he's a paramedic.
Sure, yeah.
But I think for him, it's like I got to be a hero. I got to save people's lives, and it's intense. And my brain is firing all cylinders, and I'm super aware. And I'm on meth. And it's like, holy shit, this is so intense. And even if I do that, who cares? I died for a good cause.
Yeah.
I think he is one of the few people who can actually do that. Most people aren't hardwired to do that.
No, of course not.
And honestly, most people that are in the Army, I think that's why a lot of people don't make it.
Well, there's a lot of careers.
Or they're no good. They go over there and they fuck you. They get shot right away.
Or there's a lot of career paths. It's a massive public works program. I've just like, it's not necessarily like.
My friend E, though, he's built to do it, though.
Yeah. I feel like I got like a bit I'm working out about. It's like the idea that there are some guys for whom day-to-day life is so fucking boring that they end up either selling. They don't need to, or maybe society forces them to.
No, I agree. I think the boring thing is what I'm agreeing with.
Like guys who get into like gang violence stuff out of necessity because of their environment.
Same mentality though.
Or what I'm saying exactly is like day-to-day life is so profoundly not stimulating enough. They're like, and again, this is not everybody. In fact, it's probably a small minority of people who do it because it's like, well, I could go to college and, work my way up or whatever, but it's like, what the fuck am I doing that shit for? Like, I've talked to comedians, like successful comics or middling comics that are like, dude, I know that work sucks and everybody hates it, but like, I could not hold down a job. I cannot sit fucking still, or I can't turn a wrench for 10 hours a day. Like I literally I can't do it. I would get fired or I would quit.
I've tried.
Yeah, it's and so you meet people and they end up doing something that like is outside the realm of like normalcy or whatever the fuck, and some of those guys end up doing war crimes, and some of them end up doing open mics.
Sometimes they end up doing podcasts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're doing shit like this, which is.
I'd rather do this though. I'd
rather do this than war crimes. I would say.
Sure.
Not big on the war.
But it's also, you have to have the drive to be great at this too. So many people get into podcasts and they don't have like the drive or like the ambition or like the time to get great at it. But if you take the time to get great at something, it's worth it.
I was just talking to my friend.
But it also has to be, sorry, not to interrupt you. It has to be half drive and half discontent for anything else.
Yeah. There's some mixture of that, I suppose. Yeah. Like.
Sorry, what were you saying? I didn't mean to.
No, it's just this idea that like everything now is like, if you're doing anything like this, it's like you have to have a brand. And it's like, that fucking shit sucks my ass cheeks. Like, I don't fucking... Dude, I just like doing stand-up, and I like doing this. And for whatever reason, people, like it, or they love it,
Thank you.
or they watch it out of hate, and they want me to die of AIDS, or like they fucking, they think that like some tragic part of Thomas or Maya's life or my guest's life is funny, or they think the guests are funny, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
Aside from all that stuff that's interesting about like the human condition, whatever gay shit, there's also the brand part of it. It was like, you have to have a brand. And then you'll meet musicians or comedians or artists that like, they're not good, but they're good at the brand part. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like they're good at the...
Louis J. Gomez.
I have no comment on the man, I guess.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't. He's actually. I saw Murder at the Creek the other day. I saw Murder Hard at the Creek, so I'd take that back.
Like I met musicians that I'm like, I don't know if you're like they'll blow up on TikTok or something. I'm just like, I don't know if this is my thing or if you're just really good at branding and the music sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like you do your clips. You're very good you're good at being an artist in the business side of things, and the image side of things. Like, a comedian who's like crazy good about clips has 80,000 followers, and then you go see them, and it's like they're not particularly good at stand up.
Troy Bond is bad at stand up. Stop supporting him. Sorry, what?
I don't know who that is.
He has 1,000 videos. Every video of his. Can I be a hater? Can I be a hater?
I guess, yeah. Who gives a shit?
Can I interrupt your point to hate for literally no reason? No one is asking me to. No one wants me to be a hater.
Yeah.
I'm choosing.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, whatever.
I could choose love. I'm choosing hate right now.
Sure.
All right, for no reason. I'm going to publicly say I hate Troy Bond. He's this comedian where 80% of his clips are him yelling at a woman in the audience, and every clip starts off. The heckle is always the same heckle. It's always some lady going, I thought you would be funnier. You dumb cunt slut. I'm going to beat you up. You suck. And it's the video, and he's great. He'll like have like 3 good roasts. You look like a bimbo, idiot, dummy, whatever.
Yeah.
And he must just be a great at ranting guy. He must be good at this one part of comedy, which is yelling at hecklers. And then I've had 4 different people see him on different shows, and they go, we saw Troy Bond live. I don't know if I want to see comedy again. Is that what comedy's like? And I was like, he sucks, but he's just good at yelling at women. That's it.
To be fair, a lot of great comedians were good at that too.
I know. Yes. Well, it's sure, but it's like 1% of comedy is yelling at a heckler.
Yeah.
But his actual act, I've heard, is just terrible. Or he just can't do it. He's just insufferable as a person.
I think that's
pisses me off so much, but he's great at marketing. So
the shitty thing that's downstream about the fucking crowd work thing, where it's like, I've told you this. Like, I was seeing my buddy Patrick Duran shout out podcast.
Releasing a crowd work special in February, by the way. Stay tuned.
You are?
We'll see.
Okay, nice. Yeah. We'll do a plug. No,
I won't.
Okay.
I'll plug it at the end. I'll talk about it at the end. We'll tease the plugs.
Yeah, we'll do the plug. We're almost. I think we're all about. I think we're close to that time.
The fish what you're gonna say.
It's like my buddy Patrick Duran was like doing the Creek, and he was opening for Dan Licata.
Never heard of him.
And very funny guy from New York, super funny. And,
I believe you.
Fucking this girl behind me, dude. She was in this this group. Clearly, I think college age, like early 20s, whatever. Very like aha type girl, you know? Yeah. And she was like, he's like 10 minutes into his set and he's crushing. He's not even bombing. And she just goes, do crowd work.
God damn it. No.
And he Patrick ignores it. And he didn't, I talked about it to him later. He didn't even catch it, I guess. And behind him, he's still doing the set. And then I'm sitting directly in front of him. She's going, I wish he would just do crowd work. And I was like, what the fuck is happening, dude? What is I understand that people want to be a part of the fucking thing because of social media.
It looks like fun.
It does. But I'm like, what if the guy up there was one of the crowd work dudes that's he's roasting you and it goes viral on TikTok but he's not having fun with you.
Yeah.
He wants you to go home and kill yourself.
Yeah.
Because there are comedians that are very good at having fun with a heckler. And then I've seen guys go up and I'm like, dude, if anybody talked to me like that, we're meeting outside. Yeah. I don't care. Like that. I'm going to kill you.
I love having fun with hecklers.
Yeah.
I will just have fun with them. Yeah. And I'll be like, hey, but seriously, let me finish the rest of my show.
Dude, that show we did at the Velve, that audience was nuts.
Yes. I will buy you.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that lady.
The lady goes, I'm going to buy you. I could buy you. This lady in the front row goes, I could buy you. And then she goes, my hat, the P stands for President Trump, not Palestine, by the way. And I was like, no one asked about your hat. It's the P stands for President Trump, not Palestine. No one thought it. I thought it was a Phillies hat.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about your dumbass hat. Dude,
I could own you. Why do you keep saying that?
Why do you want to? Was she the lady whose alarm kept going off every 10 minutes?
No, that was late. That was the same show.
Yeah.
God damn,
yeah,
no.
Every fucking 12 minutes, that annoying ass, it's the iPhone standard issue.
Yeah, fuck.
And you were like, can you please turn that shit off? And then Jason was up.
Yes.
Very funny guy.
Jason Rodriguez, so good.
Hilarious. And they're just like talking and the phone alarm's going off and he's just like, that lady that just kept heckling, he was just like, you're not even like a fun audience, but you're just like too drunk to be here and you have an alarm set every 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was like, I'm like, what is that for? Do you have to remind yourself to shut the fuck up like every 8 minutes?
It's so
like,
funny.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
Like I was like, because it happens once and you're like, okay, maybe it's like got to feed the dog. It happens twice and you're like, okay, maybe it's just a butt dial. It happens every 10 minutes. You're like, what the fuck is this?
What a
like,
nightmare.
are you running the light for me? Like, are you the fucking booker? Anyway.
That sucks.
Thank you guys for listening. I guess we'll have to call. We'll end her here because I have to change the camera battery out.
Let's do it.
But Matt, you got anything to plug?
Yes. Tickets at mattbanwart.com. MattBanwart. I don't know when this comes out, but
This will come out this week.
Sweet. Chicago, Illinois, Dubuque, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. If you know anyone.
What dates?
Either of those places. Chicago, January 30th. Dubuque, January 31st. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, February 1st. 2 shows there. If you know anyone, say, hey, check out this Matt Banwart guy. Awesome. Or you can subscribe to my YouTube.
Yeah,
Matt
check
Banwart.
him out on
I really want to. I put a full set there, 20-minute set out on YouTube. It's a fun one. It's half riffs, not crowd work, just riffs, and then half actual stand-up. It's really fun. Check it out.
What's socials? Matt Banwart, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll be at Creek January 28th.
Austin, Texas.
Come check that shit out. I don't have any other spots booked because I have to start bothering people again now that I'm back from Houston. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.